Hello and welcome back to the channel again. Now today's a sit down video which you don't get often, but today is one where we're just going to talk about everything that's happened in the EFL, continuing the EFL Talks series. Now we haven't done one of these in a while, we haven't done one since Brentford I think won 6-0, so obviously a lot has happened since then. Please do a like down below and click the subscribe button, it means a lot to me. But without further ado, we'll get straight into it. Now we'll start off with the Championship. Now a lot has happened in the Championship this season. A lot of surprising things, a lot of unsurprising things. We will talk about all the results from the previous weekend first though, before we go over the table and what I think. Now the first game that happened was Bournemouth, who lost 1-0 at home to Brentford. That automatically promoted Watford, but that's not what we're going to talk about yet. Barnsley then beat Rotherham 1-0. Blackburn had a massive win over Huddersfield 5-2. Wycombe, they had a bad result, losing 2-1 away to Cardiff. Preston travelled to Coventry and won 1-0. Birmingham travelled to Derby, winning 2-1. Middlesbrough, they beat Sheffield Wednesday 3-1. Nottingham Forest drew with Stoke 1-0. Norwich travelled to QPR and won 3-1. Watford beat Millwall 1-0 at home. So some big results there. And also then today, well, on their recording, yesterday after this video comes out, Reading drew 2-2 with Swansea. And Bristol City threw away a 2-0 lead to lose 3-2 at home to Luton. Now if we put that into context and look at the league table, then what it looks like is quite interesting. Now the two teams in the top two have both automatically been promoted with 2 games left. Norwich in first, Watford in second, 93, 88 points respectively for them two sides. Norwich gone above and beyond this season, been very, very good. Both of those sides getting automatic promotion back to the Premier League after relegation last season. And after Reading dropped points today, all 4 playoff teams were confirmed. Brentford, Bournemouth, Swansea and Barnsley. Now Barnsley were only stayed up on goal difference last season. By some miracle they have made it into the playoffs. I hope they get promoted. It'd be lovely for a club like them. If Omar Bogle had scored the penalty against them, Pompey would be in the Championship and Barnsley would still be in League One, or at least in the playoffs that season. So Pompey could have been there. But without saying that, all credit where it's due to them. All 3 sides in the playoffs, Bournemouth, Swansea and Barnsley, all on 77 points. And pretty much the top half is sealed now, the top 6. All the teams out of that can't get anything. It's just those 4 teams in the playoffs and those 2 that are promoted. Nothing more to play for except the title and then obviously placements and to see what happens in different games. Now we will scroll down to look at the bottom of the league. We're looking at the iPad as always, so we get the most in-depth and we can have a look at stuff. With the bottom 3 now, Wycombe, Sheffield Wednesday and Rotherham. Wycombe all but down, 6 points off safety, 2 games left. They need to win both and get a 13-goal swing in their favour to catch up with Derby. It's not happening. Wycombe are pretty much down. Wycombe will be playing League One football next season. Then we have Sheffield Wednesday and Rotherham, who occupy the next 2 places. Sheffield Wednesday need 4 points to catch up with in 2 games. Once again, I think that's pretty much Sheffield Wednesday in the League One next season. Such a shame to see a club their size down in League One. They'll be joining the likes of, well, you never know who's going to be here next season, but the likes of Pompey, Charlton, Sunderland as League One clubs. And then next is Rotherham, who need 4 points to stay up, but they interestingly still have 4 games left. Now the clubs above that are Derby, Huddersfield and Coventry. Coventry are mathematically safe, so it's just Huddersfield and Derby that can be caught by Rotherham. Derby can be caught by anyone. Rotherham can only catch Huddersfield. The other 2 can't. So Rotherham will fancy their chances, which means one of Derby or Huddersfield could be in danger. Huddersfield, again, a Premier League side just a couple of years ago. But that is the Championship talked about. There's some mental stories this season. Wycombe enjoying what would have been predicted by anyone, seeing them go down straight away. Sheffield Wednesday, after that 6-point deduction, not had a good season anyway. It might have even been 12, I can't quite remember. Barnsley having a whale of a season, and then the other 2 relegated sides from the Premier League are up there. I'm interested to see though where the other one is. So who came down? Bournemouth as well, who are still a 4th. So 3 of the top 4 are ex-Premier League sides just from last season, which tells you what you need to know about the Premier League. But we'll now move on to League One. Now some big results in the League One yesterday, seeing a couple of sides relegated and 1 promoted. We'll talk about those results first though before we look at the table and before we digress all of that. Pompey beat Bristol Rovers 1-0 at home. Shrewsbury travelled to high-flying Blackpool, beating them 1-0. Charlton suffered a 1-0 home loss to Peterborough. Crewe drew 1-1 with Rochdale after getting a lead in the 90th minute or so with the penalty. Doncaster lost 1-0 at home to Fleetwood. Gillingham, they drew with Northampton 2-2. Ipswich drew 0-0 with relegation threatened Wimbledon. Lincoln got beaten by Hull 2-1 at home. MK Dons thumped Swindon 5-0. Oxford beat Plymouth 3-1. Sunderland drew 3-3 with Accrington after leading twice in that game. And Wigan drew 1-0 with Burton. Now, what that means for the table is that one side has been promoted. That is the league leaders, that is Hull City. Only 4 points ahead of Peterborough. Peterborough with that game in hand. But obviously Hull will still have a point over them. 2 wins would see Hull crowned champions, even if depending on results they could drop points. They don't think they will though. They are promoted back at the first attempt back to the championship. They were relegated last season. I think it was last season, yes. Bottom of the league, I don't think so. I think they came second bottom or something. Can't quite remember. But yes, they were relegated and they've gone straight back up, unsurprisingly, possibly. And then the rest of the picture sees Peterborough back into that spot, and they've got a 9-point advantage there as well. I think a win on Tuesday could see them promoted if they're playing, but only if results go their way. Again, the playoffs now, Sunderland, Lincoln, Oxford and Blackpool occupying those games. Blackpool hit a bit of a patchy run of form now, 2 losses out of 2. Oxford back into those playoffs, although teams do have games in hand on them. Lincoln, they still in the automatic picture if they want to be. Then Charlton and Pompey make up those chasing pack, and I think they're the only sides that can actually catch the playoffs. I mean, MK Dons can mathematically, but it's very unlikely they'll be able to. Gillingham again, they can mathematically, but they need every side to lose all their games. So I think their playoff push is over. I think for that 6th spot it is now out of MK Dons, Charlton, Pompey, Blackpool and Oxford to get those last 2 playoff spots. I think Sunderland and Lincoln are pretty much confirmed to be in the playoffs at least. We'll look at the bottom of the league now then. As I did say, 2 out of the 4 possible sides have been relegated after this weekend's fixtures. Bristol Rovers and Swindon are going to be playing League 2 football next season. Swindon getting relegated in their first season in League 1. And then the other 2 sides that occupy those bottom 4 spots are Rochdale and Northampton. Those 2 sides still got a fighting chance, but Rochdale needs some form to come their way. And Northampton, with a failure to win in their next game, will see the drop come to them. 4 points off safety with 2 games left. They lose or they draw. There'll be 3 points, possibly, if not 4. All we're going to need now is a win to secure safety. Well, to secure safety from Northampton. Rochdale have that game in hand over them, which could be vital for Rochdale's effort to survive, meaning that only 2 sides can be relegated other than them, which is Wigan and Wimbledon. The rest are safe. Wimbledon having that game in hand and Rochdale's game in hand won't propel them out of the relegation zone, but it could see them close the gap on safety. Let me know down below what you think will happen in the League 1 relegation race. Other sides, though, notably, that have failed or done well this season. Burton have survived the Great Escape. They've done it into 17th now, way above the relegation zone. Doncaster have bottled it. They're 13th now. No real playoff chance for them. I think mathematically they are now out of the race completely. Well, they've still got 4 games left, but they need to win them all and hope other teams drop points. Fleetwood as well, they're 14th, not been great for them. Ipswich 11th, not been great for them. But other than that, most of it is expected. Accrington, after their early season flurry, are now down to 12th. But we'll now just move on to the last of our 3 leagues in the EFL. The best 3 leagues in the world, you could say. We'll talk about League 2. Now in League 2, there were chances for teams to get promoted, chances for teams to get relegated. None of them happened. So first of all, we'll talk about the actual games that went on. Cambridge lost 1-0 at home to Stevenage. Carlisle drew 1-0 at home with Harrogate. Cheltenham beat Colchester 1-0 at home. Forest Green travelled to Crawley, earning a 0-0 draw. Exeter drew 0-0 with Newport. Bolton took a vital 3 points away at Morecambe with a 1-0 win. Grimsby travelled to Oldham, winning 2-1. Port Vale beat Bradford 2-1. Salford, they beat Mansfield 2-0 to reinvigorate their playoff push. Walsall travelled to Scunthorpe, also winning 2-0. Southend, they hosted Leyton Orient, getting a massive 3 points there, winning 2-1. And Tranmere hosted Barrow, winning 1-0. Now, if we look at what that means for the table, then it will be on screen, as all of them should be. Cheltenham do now lead the way. With their win, they leapfrogged Cambridge. I think they had a win anyway. They must have done. They did. They beat Colchester 1-0. With their win at the weekend, they leapfrogged Cambridge into first and have a game in hand. I think mathematically all sides could be... Well, if each of those top 3 win next weekend or Tuesday, whenever they're playing, they are all promoted. Bolton obviously getting that big 3 points over 4th place Morecambe to increase that gap Morecambe, interestingly, would have gone above them with a win. So Bolton avoided that, and now it's in their hands for promotion. Cambridge could have been promoted at the weekend, but they lost to Stevenage. Another big loss for them. Stevenage not even in a playoff picture. Stevenage quite low down in the table, actually down in 15th. The playoff picture then, Morecambe, Tranmere, Forest Green and Newport do occupy those spaces, but then Salford is still in with a shout, as well as Exeter. Carlisle could be as well because the game's in hand. Only at the moment 5 points from 11th to 7th, meaning 11th place and Leyton Orient aren't out of the race either, but it's going to be unlikely. It will be probably one of Exeter or Salford that, if a team outside is to nick one, it'll probably be one of them two that does it. We'll move down now then to the bottom of the league. The two sides that could have been relegated at the weekend, Grimsby and Southend, both getting 3 points at the weekend. Both of them would have been relegated with failures to win. Both of them won though, meaning Southend are now 5 points off safety with 2 games left. They're all but down because other teams have games in hand. Grimsby are also, well, they're 6 points off, but they have no games in hand but 3 games left. Barrow just need 1 win to secure survival pretty much, and they'll be safe. Same goes for Scunthorpe. Now that is where that league table ends, and that's pretty much where the video ends, but we will have a look at a couple of other clubs. Scunthorpe obviously in 21st, not doing well after their relegation a couple of years back from League One. Walsall the same, they're down in 19th. Stevenage in 15th, Bradford 14th. Bradford a big club, they shouldn't be that low. Salford doing well, but obviously they are backed by a lot of money. Tranmere looking to bounce back after the first attempt. They're in 5th, possibly playoffs for them. Bolton the same, they're in 3rd. Cheltenham are leading the way. Mental if they can find their way into League One. Cheltenham and Cambridge in League One. They're League Two clubs at best, but fair play to them if they do it. But that is where this video is going to end. I do hope you have enjoyed, as this is another series I want to continue. The most important episode should be up next Sunday, or even next, well, it won't be the most important one because it's not the season ender, but teams could have been promoted by then. I hope you've enjoyed this video, as I always hope you do. Please do not forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.